I am going to tell you something that most men my age would never admit out loud. Last Tuesday, a 30-year-old woman gave me her number without me asking for it. I am 73 years old, I have a belly, I have gray hair, and I walk with a slight stiffness in my left knee. And she still wrote her number on a napkin and slid it across the table. If you are over 60 and you think that ship has sailed, stay with me, because what I am about to share changes everything. There is a specific reason this keeps happening to me, and it has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with looking young, and nothing to do with being in great shape. I will tell you exactly what it is, but first let me tell you who I am and why you should listen to a single word I say. My name does not matter. What matters is that 5 years ago I was recently divorced, 68 years old, carrying about 40 extra pounds, and genuinely convinced that my days of being desired by a woman were finished. I sat in my apartment on a Saturday night watching television, and I remember thinking, this is it now. This is the rest of my life. I was wrong, dead wrong, and figuring out why I was wrong changed not just my dating life, but the way I move through the world every single day. So let me start by telling you what you are actually dealing with, because I know exactly where you are right now. You are probably not ugly. You are probably not broke, but something has shifted and you feel it. Women do not look at you the way they used to. You walk into a room and you feel invisible. Maybe you have tried dating apps and the silence has been humiliating. Maybe you went on a date and spent the whole time feeling like you had to justify your age or apologize for not being 45 anymore. Maybe you have just stopped trying altogether because the rejection feels worse now than it ever did when you were young. I get it. I lived that. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The problem is not your age. The problem is not your body. The problem is that somewhere along the way you started behaving like a man who is already lost. And women at any age can smell that from across a room. That is the real issue, not your wrinkles, your posture, your energy, the quiet apology you are making just by existing in a room. And I want to sit with that for a second because most men blow past it too quickly. That quiet apology is insidious. It shows up in how you order at a restaurant. It shows up in whether you hold a door and make eye contact or stare at the floor. It shows up in whether you laugh at your own jokes or look around to check if anyone approved. You have been shrinking, maybe for years, and the first step is just seeing it clearly. Now here is the shift that changed everything for me, and I want you to really hear this. I stopped trying to compete with younger men, completely stopped, because the moment I did that, I realized I was not even playing the same game they are playing. A 35-year-old man is still figuring himself out. He is still insecure. He is still performing. He still needs validation. I do not need any of that. I have already lived. I have already failed, rebuilt, loved, lost, and come out the other side knowing exactly who I am. That is not a weakness. That is the most attractive thing a human being can possess. And younger women, the ones who are genuinely interesting and worth your time, they feel that difference immediately. They are tired of boys pretending to be men. They are tired of the games and the neediness and the emotional unavailability. When they sit across from a man who is completely settled in himself, who is not trying to impress them, who looks them in the eye without flinching, something happens. I remember the exact moment I understood this. I was at a dinner party, maybe 2 years after my divorce, and there was a woman there, 36 years old, smart, clearly someone who had heard every line in the book. I just talked to her like a normal person. I was not trying to charm her. I asked her something real. She said something interesting. I disagreed with her and told her exactly why, and she looked at me like I had done something extraordinary. She told me later that most men either try too hard or completely disappear. I was just there, present, unbothered. That was the night something clicked. Now let me get into the actual specifics because I know you want the real stuff, not just philosophy. The first thing I changed was how I walk into a room. I stopped rushing. Older men rush because they feel like they are inconveniencing people just by being there. I started moving slowly and deliberately. I started taking up my full physical space without apology. Shoulders back, unhurried, like I belong wherever I am standing. That alone changed how women looked at me within weeks. It sounds almost too simple, but try it for 1 week and watch what happens. People respond to you differently when you move like you have nowhere more important to be. The second thing is eye contact, and I cannot stress this enough. Most men over 60 have developed a habit of looking away first. We do it because we have been conditioned to feel like our gaze is unwelcome. Stop doing that. Not in a creepy staring way, but hold eye contact just a beat longer than feels comfortable. Smile slightly, then look away on your own terms. That single habit communicates more masculine confidence than any gym routine or expensive watch ever could. I practiced this for weeks in everyday situations, at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, not flirting, just practicing being present and unhurried with my attention. By the time I was using it in actual conversations with women I was interested in, it felt completely natural. The third thing is conversation, and this is where older men absolutely destroy younger competition if they know how to use it. Stop talking about yourself. Stop trying to impress. Ask her questions that nobody else asks her. Not what do you do for work. Ask her what she is obsessed with right now. Ask her what the last thing was that genuinely surprised her. Ask her what she would do if she was not afraid of failing. Women in their 30s are surrounded by men who only talk about themselves or who ask boring questions. The man who is genuinely curious about her inner world becomes immediately unforgettable. I remember sitting with a 31-year-old woman at a bar, nothing fancy, just a regular place near my apartment, and I asked her what she believed about something that most people thought was crazy. She talked for 45 minutes. At the end of the night, she said that was the best conversation she had had in years. I did not try to be impressive. I was just genuinely interested. That is the move. And here is the thing about being a good conversationalist at our age. We have an unfair advantage. We have seen enough of life to ask questions that mean something. We are not threatened by her opinions. We do not need her to agree with us to feel good. That ease, that genuine lack of neediness, is something a 35-year-old simply cannot fake because he has not earned it yet. The fourth thing is how you dress, not expensively, not like you are trying to look younger, just clean, fitted, intentional. A well-fitted dark shirt and decent shoes on a 73-year-old man with gray hair who carries himself well is more attractive than a 35-year-old in a wrinkled t-shirt who is staring at his phone. You are not trying to look 50. You are trying to look like the best version of 73. Own the gray, own the lines. They are not flaws, they are credentials. I spent an afternoon clearing out anything baggy, faded, or older than my divorce. Replaced it with simple, well-fitted basics. Dark colors, clean lines, nothing trendy. The difference in how people responded within days was immediate confirmation. The fifth thing, and this one is the most important of everything I am telling you, you have to completely stop being apologetic about your interest in younger women. The shame kills the attraction instantly. If you approach a woman who is 35 and somewhere in your body you are wincing and waiting to be rejected for your age, she feels that energy before you open your mouth. You have to genuinely believe, not pretend, but genuinely believe that you are offering her something real and valuable. Life experience, emotional stability, presence, the ability to have a real conversation, the absence of drama. Those things are genuinely rare and genuinely desirable. Walk in knowing that. The sixth thing is where you actually put yourself. You are not going to meet interesting younger women sitting at home. But you also do not need to be somewhere that makes you feel ridiculous. Wine tastings, art openings, good restaurants at the bar on a weekday evening, bookstores, cooking classes, places where adults with actual interest gather. I am not telling you to haunt nightclubs at 73. I am telling you to go places that suit who you are and stay present when you get there. Put the phone away. Order something interesting. Start a conversation about whatever is right in front of you. That is it. That is the whole strategy for meeting people in the real world. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking she just wants security. She wants money. She wants a father figure. She is using him. And yes, that happens. It happens in relationships between people the same age too. You screen for it the same way you screen for anything. You pay attention to whether she is interested in you or interested in what you can provide. That distinction becomes obvious quickly if you are paying attention. But do not let the fear of being used stop you from living. That is a losing strategy. You might be thinking you are too old for this, that it is embarrassing, that your friends will judge you, that society will look at you sideways. Here is what I will tell you about that. At 73, I have buried friends. I have watched men my age give up on everything that makes life worth living because they were worried about what somebody might think. That is the real embarrassment. Not dating a younger woman. Wasting the years you have left performing respectability for people who are not living your life. You are not hurting anyone. You are not doing anything wrong. You are a grown man choosing to stay alive and engaged and present in your own story. That takes more courage than most people realize. If this opens something up in you today, there is more where this came from. I share what has actually worked for me. Real experiences, real conversations, real results, not theory. Follow along and let's figure this out together because the best chapters of your life are not behind you, not even close.